Alrighty, I think we are live. I think we're live. Can you guys hear me? I think I'm gonna take these out. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. You can hear me? Let me fix a couple things here. All right. Is it coming in loud and clear? Let me make sure that yeah, Eddie can hear all good. Okay, perfect. Am I lagging at all? Am I lagging at all, guys? Check the chat room here, make sure I'm not lagging. No lag? Perfect. All right. And just so you guys know, no, all good. Perfect. All right, just so you guys know, I'm actually not at home because I wanted to make sure that this live stream was not going to get interrupted because of Wi-Fi or whatever. So I decided to come to. I'm actually at Target, believe it or not. I don't know if you guys know what Target is. It's like a big superstore, sort of like Walmart, kind of like along the same line. Because I knew they had really good Wi-Fi, and I'm in the cafe, and I'm in a secluded part of the cafe over here. So just wanted to make sure that all of that was going good. So let me check the Wi-Fi. Yeah, the Wi-Fi is good, guys. The Wi-Fi is good. All right, so we're going to let a couple more people roll in here. We got Lucas. We got Oliver. We got Rickson. Let's get a couple more people in here. I just posted on social media the link. So hopefully some other people head on over. If you're in the chat room and you haven't already let me know that you're here, let me know that you're here. Go ahead and do that. That way we can get all the introductions and whatnot out of the way. Again, guys, I'm wearing the OG shirt. I had to try this again. How is the background noise? The background noise. I know I'm in Target and I'm using my mic. I brought my mic with me. Is there too much background noise, or am I coming in, loud and clear? Let me know in the chat. Not too much noise. Okay, good. Yeah, this mic is actually really good at focusing on just a bit. Yeah, it's in the back, but awesome. Hey, perfect. Yeah, the mic is really good at picking up, essentially only what I want it to pick up. So, alrighty, guys, this is awesome. We figured it out. So, how are you guys doing today? How are you guys doing on what's today? March 15th, I think. How are you guys doing? Oh, and I also shaved. Yeah, I shaved. Trying to go for a different look here. So hopefully it's working. Hopefully it's not scaring too many people away. How's everybody doing in the chat room? Can hear you, Eddie, but it's not too much noise. I'm doing good. Awesome, Oliver. Awesome, man. We're gonna let some other people roll in here. Doing great. Feel very good. Had a nice day with my son. Awesome, Lucas. What the heck did you do? I'm just really excited that this live stream is actually working. Fun fact, I was actually going to go to a Starbucks and do this. I was going to go to a Starbucks and do this live stream. But when I got there were so many people in that Starbucks. And so, yeah, that just went right out the room. India is joining. Awesome. Well, in case you didn't hear at the beginning, I'm actually at Target. So I'm in the cafe section of Target because my Wi-Fi at the house is shit. So keep playing with him, watch MacGyver. Nice. I love it. Yeah, just so you guys know, India is a really, really awesome person. I personally know her. We went to high school together. Hey, you don't have to explain Target to me. Awesome. But yeah, we went to school together, and I actually introduced her to Terminator, Terminator 1 and 2. I told her to check them out, and it worked. I think she's a fan. You're a fan, right? Let me know. So hopefully this is not too weird for people when they walk in, because now it's starting to get a little crowded. But you guys can still hear me, right? Yes, definitely. Awesome. All right. Well, guys, look. We're gonna start, doing some questions here, some Q&A kind of stuff. So send your questions in, and we're gonna get it going here. So send your questions, and we can all chat in the chat room as well. Everybody in the chat room can answer along as well. Make sure that it definitely did send. Okay. Just checking real quick here. Sorry, guys. Who else is in the chat room? Let me know. Just making sure that my post actually posted, because my phone is not on the Wi-Fi. And yep, it definitely posted. Oh, I saw Lucas. You liked it. Awesome, man. All right. So just to kind of kick things off here with you guys, what's really cool is we were going to be doing this, like I said. Sorry, I'm just fixing something here real quick. All right, there we go. We were going to be doing this from Starbucks, and when I walked in, it was like super packed. So that went right out the window. So this actually kind of worked out. This is a nice area of the cafe. Okay, so first question: have you heard the small interview with Robert Patrick talking about Linda and his possible cameo in Terminator: Dark Fate? Sounds interesting indeed. Yeah, that would be cool. When I actually met him in Orlando in October, and I think I've mentioned this somewhere else. You guys know my experience, and if you haven't, you can check out the video here on the YouTube channel. But I didn't have a great experience with him, but I was able to, in that short period of time that everything went down, I was able to, basically ask him, do you have any involvement in Terminator: Dark Fate? And he, basically said no. So, we can look at that a couple different ways. Either he's lying to me just to, save the surprise, or he's being 100% legit and nothing is happening with this next film. And I fall on the second option there, because, to me, it just wouldn't feel right. You have the built-in fan service of Linda, Arnold, and James, so you don't really need Robert Patrick and his character, the T-1000. That version with the Robert Patrick look, died. So I mean, they might do some kind of CGI thing, facial thing with putting Robert Patrick's likeness on someone, but I don't think we're actually going to get Robert Patrick to be involved in the film. That's just me, though. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that would be like a cool thing? Like, would you guys want that? Or personally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, he's one of the best villains of all time, so just leave that in T2. You know what I mean? Don't try to reintroduce him. It's awesome enough that we have Arnold coming back. We don't really need Robert Patrick, so to say. Lucas, I don't like Robert Patrick. How come? Yeah, I mean, you guys know my experience with meeting him. I didn't have a great time meeting him. I mean, just being 100% honest with you guys, the experience wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Just put it that way. And I left the convention that I met him at. I left really disheartened. And funny enough, 1 week from today, I'm going back to that exact convention. They have 2 conventions a year. They have one in March and then one in October, Spooky Empire. And I'll be going back there next Friday to meet Edward Furlong, who played John Connor in Terminator 2. So that's going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully he can redeem and kind of fix the experience of meeting Robert Patrick at Spooky Empire and the bad experience I had with meeting him. Hopefully Furlong can fix that. Rix and Jacob, what do you think about Gabriel Luna as the new Terminator? Hey, look, the guy trained like crazy, right? The guy trained like crazy, didn't he? I mean, we've all seen the photos and whatnot of him training and, you know, having Arnold kind of mentor him. So, you know, he took the role seriously. And I can see him, you know, I'm not very familiar with his work. I know he played Ghost Rider, or he plays Ghost Rider. But other than that, I'm not very familiar with Gabriel Luna. So this would be really my introduction to him. So I hope he just knocks it out of the park. And I hope they, you know, really make him a worthy antagonist, you know, compared to the T-800 from T1 and the T-1000 from T2. Lucas says he's a 1 movie actor for me. Oh, so you mean like you really only liked him in Terminator 2 and that's it? Basically anything else he does, you just don't like? Rickson, I haven't seen any of his movies, if any, or his Ghost Rider. Yeah, okay, so he did do Ghost Rider. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not very familiar with him. So, you know, this is kind of going in blind for me personally. And I think a lot of people are, you know, and I think that's, you know, good. It's cool. It's good. I'm not familiar with Mackenzie Davis. I'm not familiar with Natalia Reese. I'm probably butchering her name. I'm not familiar with these people. You know, it's really only Arnold and Linda that I'm familiar with. So, and of course, the people that I have talked to on the podcast, Claudia Trujillo and Daniel Ibanez and Brett Azar, you know, I'm familiar with them, and they're going to be in the film. So that's going to be really cool to see. But yeah, so we'll see. You guys know me. I've been staying super positive regarding this new film. And, you know, it looks like it's going to be Terminator Dark Fate. It looks like that is what it is going to be called. And if that is the case, then, man, I am so excited because, that's just such a great title, you know? Really think about it. I've seen some people say that they don't like the way it sounds. Put the way I did, I think I did it on Twitter, put it like side by side and just say it a couple times. The Terminator, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Terminator Dark Fate. That sounds great, doesn't it? That sounds amazing. I don't know. To me it works. What do you guys think? What are your opinions on Terminator Dark Fate as the official title, which is what it seems like it's going for? Something I did want to let you guys know while, you know, some other people possibly find the stream and start writing in the chat room here. A couple things I want to let you guys know besides the Spooky Empire thing, which I'm super excited for. And like I said, 1 week from today, literally 1 week from today, because at 5 p.m. is when the room opens for the celebrities. So that is when I will be storming in there, you know, hopefully with my T2 screenplay that I was actually able to send to William Wisher, who I had on the podcast. I asked him afterwards, I said, hey, can I send you like a couple things and just have you sign them? And he said, yeah, send them to me. And he gave me his address and I sent them. And this was like going on a month ago. So hopefully he sends them back and I have something to take, you know, to have multiple people continue to sign, because that would be really cool. I got Patrick to sign my Blu-ray, but I recently moved and that Blu-ray is in storage. And I don't really feel like going into my storage unit and ripping apart boxes just to try to get that one Blu-ray so I can get Furlong to sign it. But yeah, so Spooky Empire next Friday. And the other thing I wanted to let you guys know is that I'm always continuously trying to get people on the podcast. And, you know, that is exactly what I'm doing. Even right before I went live, that is what I was doing. I was confirming with a guest to get them on the show. And I have confirmed some guests. I'm not going to announce them here. I'm going to, announce them on social media. But they're really cool guests. But the reason I bring this up is because 2 announcements that I've made in the past, they're kind of up in the air over whether or not they're going to be happening. So the first one is Randall Frakes. I reached out to Randall Frakes and, asked him, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? And if you guys don't know who Randall Frakes is, he's kind of, I call it the Cameron friendship triangle, because James Cameron has 2 really close friends that he's known for years and that he has collaborated with on multiple projects, and that is William Wisher and Randall Frakes. So they make up the triangle. And I reached out to him and said, hey, you want to come on? And he said yes. And he actually gave me a date. And this was back in February, the beginning of February. He gave me a date, and that day came and went. And I was just left kind of stranded. You know what I mean? Like, I messaged him. I was like, hey, are we still on? And he never got back to me until yesterday. Yesterday is when he got back to me. And it was really strange because, he was basically, I think he might have been using the voice to text thing, because this was a super long message. And it was all over the place. So I was really confused. But anyways, he basically, said that he's not able to download the app, which is the way I record with guests. I host my podcast through a service called Anchor, and they have a free app that anytime I have guests on, they just download to their phone. It's a free app. They find the podcast and we're able to connect that way, and it records the conversation. But he said he didn't want to download that app, and that he felt like there should be some other way. And so long story short, I said, look, I don't know any other way of doing this. This is the definite best way that is, solidified. There's very few issues I have with this way. Is there any way you can get the app? And he said, not right now. So it's looking like Randall Frakes is probably not going to be on the podcast anytime soon. So that kind of sucks, but I'm going to continuously try to get him on because he's a really interesting guy, I think. So yeah, that's the first announcement. But first, I'm just going to come over here to the chat room and read a couple things here. Rickson Jacob says, I hope you get Cameron or Tim Miller on the podcast before the film release. Oh my God, dude. Can you imagine that? That's not going to happen. Let's be real. That's not going to happen, but it could. You never know. The funny thing is William Wisher, I messaged him because we actually stay in touch. I stay in touch with William Wisher, who is, the co-writer of Terminator 2. Because of him coming on the podcast, we become friends. And I, asked him one day, I said, hey, do you talk to Cameron frequently? And he said, yeah, a couple times a year. We're actually planning on getting drinks once I finish this new script that I'm working on. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I love how he's so casual about it. But then, of course, he explained it. He's like, I knew Cameron when he wasn't James Cameron. So he's always going to be Jim to me. He's not going to be James Cameron. But I understand why you're reacting the way you're reacting, is what he told me. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, you're just going to casually get drinks with James Cameron. But he was the one that said, look, I know that you want to get Cameron on the podcast. And it's not going to help if I say, if I try to nudge it along, is the way he phrased it. If I say, hey, I did this podcast called Terminator 101. Do you want to go on? And I said, what do you think Cameron's answer would be? And Bill said, no. So, there's your answer right there. He said my best option is to go through his production office, which is Lightstorm. I haven't yet, just because, look, guys, I don't live in a fantasy world. I know that James Cameron is James Cameron. He's not these other guests that I've been getting on, who are awesome. They are, but they don't have that status. You know what I mean? James Cameron is on a whole other level. So James Cameron coming on the podcast is very, very far out there. Tim Miller, though, maybe. We'll see. Nick Gurr. Nick, welcome to Terminator 101. I don't think you've been on the one stream before, and I don't think I've ever actually seen you. So how's it going? Nice to have you here. He just writes, "Hi, Terminator." Oliver says, "I think Gabriel Luna as an unknown is a good thing." Yeah, it is a good thing. Yeah, it definitely is. Because, from here on out, a lot of people are only going to be able to see him as this. People going into the film don't really have preconceived notions of who he is as an actor. So this is like going in fresh, which is awesome. Sort of the same way people went into the first Terminator and who didn't really know who Arnold Schwarzenegger was. How about Michael Edwards from T2? John Connor going through time mixing with his younger self to break the John Connor time loop to freshen it. That's a cool thing that you wrote there. It's cool to write it, but to actually execute it and to make it make sense and not be convoluted, I don't know if it's going to work. Look, you guys know I've said this ad nauseum. I really have. This next film, I think, should have no time travel. No time travel. We're in 2019. Assuming that they place this film in 2019, we're in 2019, which means we're only 10 years away from 2029, right? So we're literally almost there. So there's no need for time travel, okay? You know how I feel about all this, that this essentially takes place on at least 2 timelines. If you want to think about more, that's fine. I don't think this one timeline thing makes any sense. We're on 2 timelines, and we're on timeline B at the end of Terminator 2. And we're on timeline B at the beginning of the Terminator, and it all happens on timeline B. So let this next film continue to take place on timeline B and just place it in 2019 and acknowledge that time has passed from 95 to 2019, develop the characters that way, and don't have time travel. Don't convolute this at all. Thank you, Rickson. Yeah, no time travel. Exactly. Like, I don't think that's the way they're going to go with it, because that's sort of a staple with Terminator is time travel. But I think that they should do no time travel. Keep it 100% in the present and go from there. We can, I think that this should be sort of an origin story for a lot of the stuff, where did the idea to use Arnold come from? Who is Arnold in this next film? I think he should be the human prototype. You guys have heard me say this at length. He should be the human prototype, not a Terminator. Show the evolution of Sarah Connor. Where is John Connor? That's something that a lot of us are speculating and going back and forth on, and really questioning, where is John Connor? There's lots of theories out there, and I've kind of stayed away from doing my theory until we get a little closer. Until we get that first trailer, which is looking like late April or early May. That's when speculation has the first trailer dropping. So really excited for that. We're getting very close to it. But yeah, so those are the things that you can look at, show the creation of Skynet, show all of that, like I said, we're only 10 years away from it. So it's not that far of a stretch. And of course they can place it a little later than 2019, right? They can place it in 2025 or 20, whatever. Yeah. So that is essentially where I think that they should take the story. But you've heard me, I've had multiple episodes on that. And if you want to hear more in-depth thoughts on that, go check out the podcast, wherever podcasts are found. If you're a new watcher after the live stream, go check it out. So yeah, the other guest that I did record with, and I posted about this, but I just want to mention it here, Rochelle Neal from the new film. She plays a C5 co-pilot. That's what she's credited as on IMDb. I reached out to her. We recorded. It was a great episode, and I was editing the episode, and she messaged me and said, "Hey, can you not release the episode? I talked to my team, and they said that, they don't want the episode released." That's as far as I know. And I've actually continuously messaged her, and she is not messaging me back. So I have a completed guest episode with Rochelle Neal in the archives, and I can't release it. And that truly sucks because, I don't want to suffer any repercussions. I don't want to think that I'm, invincible and no one's going to, she's not going to find out about, I don't want to do that. She asked me not to release it, and I'm not going to release it until I get the A-OK. It's just unfortunate that we did it. We recorded it, and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. She's just a great person. She has a British accent, I mean, it threw me off, but I love British accents. I don't know why I think that you think that that's valuable, but yeah, she's just a fantastic person, and sucks that I can't release it, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I have faith that we'll get there. So, and the other thing is I was going to be recording a commentary track for Terminator Salvation with Claudia Trujillo from the new film. Reached out to her, and she was super game for it. It's crazy how game she was for it. So I posted about it, right? And you guys can find this. It's the Entertainment Weekly cover with Christian Bale on it. And I think I said something to the extent of, I can't wait to talk about the second worst Terminator film in the franchise with Claudia Trujillo and blah, blah, blah. Because that's how I feel. I think it's the second worst. And then she messaged me and she said, hey, look, can you possibly edit that out, take out the second worst part? Because my agent saw that post, and it's crazy, guys. It really is crazy how strict they are about this, because, you know, I wouldn't expect her to talk bad about her film, Terminator Dark Fate, but it's crazy how she can't even talk how she really feels about films that have nothing to do with the film that she's working on, you know, because they're negated. But, you know, she said that it's all in the Terminator franchise. So she really can't be, I guess, 100% honest about it, because I've talked to her privately and, you know, and she essentially feels the exact same way. So I'm kind of on the fence about this one. And again, I've messaged her and she hasn't responded back to me. So it's weird. I don't know. Are these people like being picked off by the Illuminati? I don't know. But I'm on the fence about doing that with her, because I like to be 100% honest. I like to be 100% honest. And I don't feel like she's going to be able to do that. You know, she'll have to come on and kind of sugarcoat everything. So that sucks, but we're going to go from there. I'm going to see if I can maybe get a different guest on or what. You know, I asked her, what can you say? And she hasn't responded. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's, you know, I was looking forward to it, definitely. And it sucks that it's not going to happen, but possibly not going to happen. But yeah, who else is in the chat room? Just want to make sure everybody is in the chat room. That is making sure everything's going good. You guys can hear me. I don't see anybody saying anything. So just want to make sure that everything's going good. No lagging, nothing like that. Yeah, I can see for where you're coming from. I can understand that, because we are in the future. How about Arnold playing as a scientist working inside Skynet's laboratories? That's what they pick. That's why they pick him. That's essentially what I think you could do, right? You could have Arnold as whatever, you know. That's the beauty of Arnold, is we kind of buy him as anything. You know, no one really questions why an Austrian buff-looking guy is playing a sheriff or whatever, you know what I mean? So it makes sense that you could actually put him as a scientist, and we would overlook that. We would just be like, yep, makes sense. And yeah, go from there. Why did they choose Arnold? You know, it's something that I've talked about, and I say you could write it in the way of, he has what they're looking for, right? Skynet is looking for a particular person to embody this, right? So the evolution of all of the models has come and gone, and you can show that in however fashion you want, whatever fashion you want. But for the latest and greatest, the T-800, and maybe that's how you end the film. You see what I'm saying? Maybe that's how you end the film. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of ways this movie can go, and at this point, it's not pointless to speculate, but I mean, the film is done, right? It's in post-production. And okay, no lags, enjoying the video, great. But yeah, it's in post-production. So, you know, it's done and over with, the story. So all we can hope until we start to see things, right? And then once we start seeing things, then we're really going to be able to piece stuff together. Right now, all we have to base anything off of is a photo, right? We don't have a synopsis. we don't really have a confirmed title, although we'd like to think that we do. And a lot of the cast on IMDb is not even complete, right? So really all we can base anything off of is that one photo they released of the 3 females. And it's a great photo. You know, people complained about it, and I don't know why. It was a great photo. Really made me excited for the project. And it's a photo. You know what I mean? People said it looked too clean, too polished, whatever. It's just a photo, okay? It's not even an on-set photo. It's a promotional photo. So those are 2 different things. Now, if that was an on-set photo, yeah, I might be a little hesitant. But it's not. It's just literally them promoting the film, getting people hyped for it. So that's what I'm basing it off of. But yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting how people speculate and throw theories around, and that's cool. You know, that's what I've been doing too. But really, at the end of the day, we're just kind of wasting our breath until anything happens, you know, official that drops. You know what I mean? So let me see if, because I like to make sure that I'm not talking completely out of my ass here. Make sure nothing new has dropped. We can talk about. Excuse me while I type here. All right. Make sure. Yeah, nothing new has, you know, the latest thing is an article about the budget of the film. And the budget of the film is not really of concern to me because we expected this to be a big budget film. I mean, you're following Terminator 2, right? So, yeah, I would expect it to be in the, you know, 150, 200 million range. That just makes sense. So, yeah, there's really nothing new that dropped. But what other questions do you guys have while we're doing this kind of Q&A thing going on here? Really kind of just told you guys everything that I wanted to let you guys know about. And yeah, that's essentially everything there. So let's see here. Go here. Rickson says, it'll be cool if they show how John reprogrammed Arnold and sent him back in T2. Maybe not in Dark Fate, but later. Cameron actually planned to show this in the beginning of T2, but later chucked it. Yeah, exactly. Show something like that. I mean, assuming that this film is successful enough and, you know, is deemed by a lot of the general audience, because let's be real, the general audience makes up more than the true fans, right? There's more general audience than true fans, I think. So the general audience is really going to decide the fate, sort of like they decided the fate for Genesis. And that fate wasn't good, right? Genesis, the sequels to Genesis got scrapped. So assuming that this film pleases multiple different kinds of groups of people and we get more, yeah, go in that direction, you know, but keep it 100% in the present. I think that's really, if I had to have one point, I would say keep it in the present. Even more so, I think, and I'm not really, you know, I kind of like to plan what I say, but I'm obviously doing this live and in the moment. Thinking about it right now, right here, even more so than Arnold being a Terminator. Keep it 100% in the present, and I think you're flying on the road to success. If you start doing time travel, then you're going to lose people. So, but yeah, that's a great idea, Rickson. That's a really great idea. Just want to, say thank you to everybody that's in the chat room, because you guys are definitely the people that really have backed from the beginning, as far as I know, the podcast. You guys are really the champions of this. Lucas is a patron over at the Patreon, and it's really cool that you guys jive with what what I do, what I release. It means a lot. So thank you for being here. For everybody that's new, Nick, India, India, are you still watching? Just let me know in the comments if you're still watching, and we'll see here. But while you guys start to think of questions and whatnot, I'm going to throw something out here at you guys, and maybe this will get a ball rolling here. Out of 100%. Okay, perfect. Out of the non-Cameron sequels, right? So that would be Rise of the Machine, Salvation, Genesis, and we'll even include Sarah Connor Chronicles, because you guys recently saw my post about that on Facebook. So all the non-Cameron stuff that I just consider fan fiction. What do you guys think is the best? What do you guys think is the best representation of what Cameron was going for? Because clearly, I mean, none of them really added up to what Cameron wanted, right? So India, I don't know if she can really comment on this, because I do know that she's only seen Terminator 1 and 2, and then you saw bits of Salvation, so it'd be kind of hard for you to comment on it. But anybody else watching, just let me know, what is the best representation in your mind of the saga that James Cameron established? I'm just here for the knowledge. All right. Well, hey, that works. I mean, this really isn't a, I mean, it'll have knowledge for sure, but it's not like an episode of the podcast where I'm, in my studio and I have an idea that I really want to, share with you guys, and I have all my information and whatnot laid down in front of me, and I can flow smoothly. This is like obviously just off the cuff kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's really up to what the chat room writes, because everything I wanted to say was really just in regards to the guests that were going to be coming on and may or may not still be coming on. So, yeah, that's that. But I appreciate you being here. Very happy that you like the movies. Really happy. I was going to be really upset if you texted me that that you think that like they're not good movies. And like, whatever. I think it's great regardless. Well, thanks. Oliver says, do you youth? All right. So first of all, Oliver, I'm going to get back to your question. Cyborgana, what's going on? I was waiting for you. I needed you to come in here. I was like, where's Morgana? There she is. She writes, hey, and then she sends 5 sparkling hearts. She is awesome. Okay, guys, she created the Tech Noir After Dark chat discussion group, right? It's over on Facebook, so check it out. I'll actually, when all this is wrapped up, this live stream, I'm going to have that linked in the bio for you guys to check out. So yeah, she's awesome. Just the fact that she created that group. So, hey, Morgana. Lucas says, hey as well. Oliver says, do you think Peter Silberman comes back and lay out his nightmare out in Terminator Dark Fate? I personally respect Terminator Salvation. It's the best non-James Cameron Terminator film. But do you like Sarah Connor Chronicles? All right, so the first part of that, do you think Peter Silberman comes back and lays out his nightmare in Terminator Dark Fate? I think Earl Bowen is a little too old, and I think he's kind of done with the franchise. I think he might even be done with acting. I think he's literally done. Like, he's just enjoying life now. So yeah, I think it's very, very unlikely that we'll see Silberman, and I really wouldn't expect to. You respect Terminator Salvation. Hey, look, I mean, it's better than Genesis, absolutely. There are some cool things in there. Just the fact that it takes place in the, it is the war, right? I mean, that's cool. Put aside the fact that I think it has way too much fan service, and it's the first Terminator film that's PG-13, and lots of other issues that I could get into when I eventually do my commentary track. I like to save that stuff for that, so that it's fresh and you guys are hearing it for the first time. And but yeah. And then Oliver says, do I like the Sarah Connor Chronicles? Well, I've only seen, I am on a mission to watch the entire series, and I'm going to. But I've only seen the first episode so far. And I posted about this on Facebook. And I think a lot of you guys have seen that post. And it's basically me ranting about how right from the get-go, the Sarah Connor Chronicles essentially establishes that it's not even what it's aiming to do, because it's already fan fiction. James Cameron had nothing to do with it. It's fan fiction. But they were trying to take place after T2 to be the true sequel, right? Because Terminator 3 came out in 2003. Sarah Connor Chronicles came out in 2008. So the Sarah Connor Chronicles were negating Rise of the Machines and pretending like only T1 and T2 happened, and they were going from there. But if you guys rewatch that first episode, the show takes place in 1999. And the scene that I mentioned takes place in 1999. And the scene is Charlie Dixon, who is Sarah's love interest. Once her and John leave, he goes to the police, obviously worried. And in steps an FBI agent who, his name is escaping me right now. Maybe you guys can let me know in the chat room. He's played by Richard T. Jones. What's his name? But he steps in, right? And, gives the character Charlie all the, backstory, right? Kind of bringing, if you skipped Terminator and Terminator 2 and you just watch Sarah Connor Chronicles, it's like kind of bringing the audience up to speed as well. That's kind of what that was for, to remind us. So he tells him that 2 years ago, Sarah Connor blew up Cyberdyne and, killed Miles Dyson, which would place, according to the Sarah Connor Chronicles, would place T2 in 1997. And we all know it takes place in 1995. So it's like, it's a detail. It's a small detail, but it's a crucial detail, because, and that episode was written by Josh Friedman, who is one of the writers of this new film. So I'm a little worried, but there was a lot of writers in that writer's room. And so they probably, shot down some of his ideas. But he wrote that episode. And the fact that he didn't even pay attention to that irks me. And to me, it automatically, James Ellison, there we go. Thank you, Lucas. It automatically kind of invalidates the Sarah Connor Chronicles. So it's just this kind of up in the air thing. It's not true story. It's not canon. You know what I mean? That's my feelings towards the Sarah Connor Chronicles right from the beginning, right from the get-go. Here on out, it's nothing more than just bad, invalid fan fiction. It's not even good fan fiction. It's not like, a perfect example would be Gershom. I had him on the podcast recently. He did a fan film called Infiltrator. That's, okay, that's what it is. It's fan fiction, right? At least he respects what came before, and he acknowledges and he pays attention to the, all that stuff. It's all in there. You know what I mean? He has a passion for it. Whereas they screwed up on this, and yeah, you can't fix that. So that's that. Let's see here. Rickson says T3 maybe. There are a few scenes which I hated. Arnold coming out of the bar and wearing those stupid sunglasses. Yeah. T3 is the best of the worst, but that scene and the talk to the hand scene are the two scenes that I reference a lot when I tell people about Terminator 3. And bad. I don't know what they were thinking. I really have no idea what those writers, Michael Ferris and John Brancato, were thinking. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully this next film, the writer's room, realizes that let's not have a lot of comedy in this film. And when we do have comedy, let's do it right. Hopefully, because T3 did not do it right. Cyborgana, late as hell, had a few tech issues. Oh, no worries. I was wondering where you were, though. I was like, where's Cyborgana? Would love to see... Okay, would love to see the doc back, but would be cheap. Okay. Oh, yeah. Silberman, right? Yeah. It would feel weird. I don't know. To me, Silberman's story came and went. Rickson, I hated Genesis the most. Damn that guy who casted Jai Courtney as Kyle Reese. Yeah. Ugh. What did I watch recently? I watched something. Oh, okay. Anatomy of a Movie. It's a show on Popcorn Talk Network. A great channel, a great network of shows. Action Movie Anatomy, which I'm a big fan of, is on there. But they also have a show called Anatomy of a Movie where they did dissect movies, and they did Terminator Genesis when it came out in 2015. And just hearing them talk about it, and they were kind of very positive towards the film, and it was weird because I was like, I don't, but just hearing them talk about it, I was like, them talking about how there's like 7 timelines in that film. And I'm just like, oh my God. Genesis is a steaming pile of dog doo-doo. Seriously, it really is. India, if you're watching, now that you've seen the good stuff, I'm hesitant to say this, but forget T3 and Salvation. Watch Genesis and let me know what you think, because Terminator Genesis, it's a train wreck. Bad movie night it is. Awesome. There you go. You can give me the middle finger later. Let's see here. Cybergana, Lena Headey is a terrible Sarah Connor, no emotional range at all. Well, I've only seen one of the episodes, and I talk about this in my Patreon exclusive review of the episode, the first episode of the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Right now, from what I've seen, I have no issues with her, but that's only one episode. Okay. You have seen, I assume, the entire series, which is all 31 episodes. So you're way ahead of me. I'm going to listen to you, but I'm also going to go in open-minded. So far, she's okay. But yeah, we'll see. Let's see here. National Lampoon's T3. I love that. I wonder if someone should mock up Terminator 3 as a National Lampoon poster. That'd be great. That would be awesome. Oh man. Oh, speaking of that, thank you for writing that. Yeah, I agree. T3 is the best of the worst, right? I am a part of, and I think everybody here is a part of that new group on Facebook, the Terminator 2 official fan group. Great group. I'm a part of it. And I've found 2 people in that group. So I thank that group wholeheartedly, because otherwise I would have still been searching. Because of their posts. I found 2 people because, I'm constantly trying to improve the podcast, right? The podcast is always my main focus. YouTube, this channel, is sort of in the backseat. It's really only designed for these live streams that I'm doing right now. And as the podcast, gets more people on board, hopefully these live streams get more people on board. But the podcast is my focus. And so I was contemplating and, really being on the lookout for someone to compose a 100% brand new, unique Terminator 101 theme, and someone to design a logo and a cover art for the podcast. Because as cool as it is, both covers that I've had for the podcast, the first one was like that old Arnold with the beard, and it was like a black and white photo. And now this new one, which is like the tech noir, and it's really cool looking. But both of those you can find on Google. You can find both of them on Google. They're images that are out there for everybody. And I take this podcast and everything so seriously that I want my own logo, and I want my own theme. And because of that group, I found 2 people that I am on board with right now. We're messaging back and forth, and he's composing. He's, coming up with ideas for, what I want. And, I basically told him, keep it around 20 seconds. Okay. No, it can't be the Terminator theme, copyright reasons. I don't want to get any, in trouble with any of that stuff. Keep that out of there. He had it on the group. His name, you have to forgive me. And if you're watching, Paul, I know that's your first name, but I want to make sure I get his last name as well, so he gets the credit he deserves. But he posted the video of him doing it on electric guitar. And so I said, keep that sound. I want the electric guitar sound. I love the electric guitar sound. So 20 seconds, no real callbacks to the Terminator theme that Brad Fiedel composed. But if you want to have like a little hint, a little bit of flavor of the theme, that's okay. What is his name? Okay, Paul Belmarez. Paul Belmarez is the guy I am collaborating with to create the Terminator 101 theme. And those were really my guidelines, 20 seconds, no real kind of copying and pasting of the Terminator theme, and use the electric guitar because it sounded amazing. If you haven't checked it out, it's on the group, the video of him doing the Terminator 2 theme on electric guitar, great stuff. So I reached out to him, and then I reached out to Alan Steen, who is someone who posted a piece of art that he did for Terminator 2, and it looked great. It looked amazing. And I said, I want you to design my logo. And again, I gave him kind of a rough outline of what, and we're still in the process of doing this, going back and forth here. But I told him that because he asked me about my current logo, and I said, yeah, it's Tech Noir Arnold, because Tech Noir is my favorite scene out of either film. That whole Tech Noir club scene, everything about that scene I love. I think if I were to represent the Terminator in a single scene, that's the scene I would choose to like put on a projector and say, this is Terminator, check it out. That's the scene I would use. It has amazing music. It's such a nostalgic look at the 80s. It encompasses everything about the 80s. It's the first time the three characters are brought together, right? So it's that kind of momentum building of the Terminator. And then that scene, they all collide. And it's just a masterpiece of a scene. The fact that it wasn't like an actual building, it wasn't a set. Nowadays, I think it's like a jewelry store or something along those lines. But, it was an actual place that, people thought was a real club. I love the name Tech Noir, which is why I'm so happy Cybergana, aka Morgana, created the group and called it Tech Noir After Dark. Amazing stuff. So I said, that's what that's from. So for this new logo, however you can, just kind of incorporate Tech Noir somehow. I don't know how you want to do it. You're the artist, right? I'm not artistically inclined. He's the artistically inclined out of the two of us. So I said, that's all, and I'm going to give him a couple more things that I've been thinking of recently, but that's where we started off. I said, Tech Noir is my favorite thing. And, it's the first film, it happens in the first film. So that would be a good thing to somehow incorporate into the logo, because we're not, referencing T2, you know what I mean? We're referencing the beginning of the franchise. So that's cool. So I reached out to him, and it's been, a pleasure working with both of you guys. If you watch this now or watch this later after the stream has ended, you're awesome. I can't wait to see what the finished products are, and I can't wait to use them and incorporate them into the podcast and possibly the channel here too. But you guys have been talking. Let me get back here. Rickson says, what do you guys think about female Terminators? We have to assume that they're out there, right? Skynet wouldn't just create all male Terminators. And Kristana Loken is one of the highlights of T3. Summer Glau, so far, from what I've seen in the Sarah Connor Chronicles, is great as Cameron. I talked about this in my review on Patreon. I'll talk about it a little bit here. The transition in that first episode of her kind of flirting with John and then being deadpan the rest of this episode was a weird transition, like how she did that, or like that creative choice to have that transition. I know she's a really advanced model or whatnot, but it was weird, that she did that. I just would have, if I was in charge of that series, of that episode, I would have had her play deadpan, essentially, because that's what she is. She's deadpan, right? Play deadpan the whole thing, right? Because it's just the fact that a girl is noticing John Connor. That's enough for him. It's not the fact that she's like out there, flirty, all that stuff. That's a little too much. It's just the fact that someone's recognizing John Connor. Oh my God, like a girl is talking to me. So that's how I would have played it. But yeah, I have nothing against it, and I hope we we continue to get that. But I will say Kristanna Loken was not nearly as terrifying as Robert Patrick. And a lot of that has to do with the direction and the screenplay, right? I don't think it's Kristanna Loken's performance. I think she was really good with what she had, given to her. I think she delivered. Let's see here. No decent Terminator needs to grow boobs to evade capture. Just run that nonsense over already, TX. God, I hate that flick. Yeah, that was really for the audience, right? That was for the audience. That was a movie moment, right? That was a movie moment. And there's not a lot of those in the first two films, right? A lot of that feels like that is like what happens in those movies happens because that is exactly what would happen if this was actually happening, versus that scene you just referenced from T3 with her boobs getting bigger. That feels like just for the audience watching the movie, right? That's what that feels like for, because she's a Terminator. She's a Terminator. Why would she do that? It's stupid. But yeah, it's dumb. There's other ways to show us, her abilities. That was a really dumb moment. I agree. Lucas says, from Genesis, I like when Arnold met Arnold. That's all. I remember watching that movie in theaters, and I liked it as well. I originally liked that scene, but I got to tell you, and it's no disrespect to Brett Azar, and I think I might have even said this on our one-on-one for the podcast. I think I might have said this to him, but no disrespect to him. Even that scene is rough. That scene is rough. That came out in 2015, right? We're 2019. That scene looks incredibly rough from a CGI standpoint, from a story standpoint. It was, and even the recreation of that scene, and something that the guys on Action, not Action Movie Anatomy of the Movie, when they were talking about that, they were praising the hell out of that scene. And it might have been okay in 2015, but I'll tell you, that scene has not aged well. It's bumpy looking. It's rough looking. I don't like it. I mean, that scene is... Genesis is so weird. Genesis is such a weird... And I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it on the commentary track, but it's such a weird movie. The fact that they just negate everything that came before, and now they're never going to continue that story that Genesis created because of how shitty it was. It's just a weird movie that's kind of floating in Terminator ethers. Let's see here. Lucas says Paul Belmaris. Yeah. Paul was his name. I probably should have looked at that earlier. Lucas, I love seeing Brett Azar kneel down like Arnold perfectly on the time displacement chamber pad. Actual chills. That was a cool scene. Yeah, that was cool. That was because at that point it didn't look too fake. You know what I mean? It actually looked kind of okay. Looked okay. I'll see if I can make something for you. I'm not too bad at this graphics, Lark. Oh, hey, look, I mean, if you want to, absolutely. I would appreciate it. I'm not going to say no. Oh, and by the way, Morgana and Dan is his name. His screen name is Alien Anal, but Dan is his real name. You guys won the T2 4Ks in the last live stream. I haven't sent them out yet, but I have your addresses, and they are going to be coming your way soon. Trust me. I just haven't, really had the time to, and I don't know how expensive that's going to be. It's not that that's an issue, but, I got to make sure that, everything is in line. So don't worry. Your T2 4Ks are coming with a little extra special something, because you guys are awesome. So, but yeah, Cybergan, if you want to design something, send it my way, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would really appreciate it, though. Oliver says, how would you feel about Michael Biehn coming back as Kyle Reese in Terminator Dark Fate? Because it's known he's born in the 2000s. Because it's known he's born in 2000s, I may have that wrong. John Connor was meant to meet John as he's younger after Dark. I'm sorry, Oliver. I don't know what the last part of that was. I'm sorry. If you want to rephrase that and send it, but I got the first part. How would I feel about Michael Biehn coming back? He might be the one that I would kind of be like, petitioning for out of anybody that I could choose, because but how would you work him into it? Besides doing what they did in the T2 special edition release with him being in the dream? I don't know how you'd work Kyle Reese into it. What are you going to pull, like a Marvel and like de-age him? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I'll say yes. I would be okay with Michael Biehn coming back. Maybe not even as Kyle Reese. Maybe have him subtly in there somehow. That'd be cool. That might be a little too much fan service. You guys know how I feel about my fan service. I'm very picky about it. So thinking about it right now in the moment, not having a lot of time to really think about it, I'm kind of on the, fence about it. It could work. It could not work. Cyborgana, no Terminator is male or female. They are infiltration units. That is true. That is true. The outside is either male or female. But I see your argument there. In T3, Arnold was wearing his sunglasses way too long. Yeah, you know what's funny about that? If you guys listen to the commentary track that I did with Durant Cinema for T3, he actually talked about that. And it's something I always knew, like in my head, that I didn't like. But it wasn't until I heard Durant talk about it that I hate those glasses in T3. Those glasses, and I'm going to, take the phrase that he used, Dave used, they look like goggles. Right? They look like goggles on his face. They look like goggles. They hug his face. They're not good looking. They're not, something like that, right? Something like that is very important because that's just become a staple of the Terminator. If for some reason they like to wear glasses, it made sense in T1 because he cut his eye out, so he had to hide that. That made sense. Essentially, from that point on, it made no sense. It makes no sense why in T2, he puts the glasses on. As far as I know, it makes no sense. Some people might be like, oh, well, he has to adjust his scanner. You know what? Someone would find a reason to make that actually justifiable. But even James Cameron has said that, that basically that whole scene, especially the Bad to the Bone theme, was really a risk. Too much maybe of a wink to the audience. It did work. It does work. It's a badass moment. I'm not like saying that it shouldn't have happened, but let's be real, guys. Kind of doesn't make sense why he puts the glasses on. That is sort of a movie moment. You know what I mean? That's sort of a, you guys remember that Terminator? Yeah, he's going to put his glasses back on. It doesn't really make sense for the character to be doing that, I think. Let's see here. Hey, no worries about it at all, Cyborgana. You're awesome. Like, you really are. Terminators don't blink. Maybe that's why more sunglasses. Maybe. Terminators don't blink. Maybe that's why more sunglasses. No, because, what, is someone going to stare at a Terminator? Like, is someone just going to watch the person and be like, hey, that guy's not blinking. He must not be human. No, that's a little small, subtle detail. And what's actually funny about that is that's something that's kind of always irked me as well, right? We've all heard the stories of Arnold training to not blink when he fires the gun. And I've heard people who literally believe that in either film, he does not blink when he fires a gun. Wrong-o. He blinks. He blinks. I'm sorry. I don't care what kind of training he did. The particular cut of the film and the particular take that they used has Arnold blinking. Okay. So Terminators do blink when they fire guns. I understand what Arnold was going for, but it's in the film. He blinks. To hide his aging, Cyborgana says, nothing more. Okay. In T1, it was to cover real damage. Exactly. Right. That made sense. That wasn't a movie moment. That was him. And he just put the glasses on, right? He cut his eye out and then he put the glasses on. Great. Beautiful stuff. Though it is funny in the police station when he's doing the famous I'll be back. When he's doing, let me get it here. Where is it? I got to stand up. When he says that line, I just had to show that to you guys. When he says that line, what's funny? I forget it. Pardon that noise. I forget exactly where it is, but you can see into Arnold's sunglasses. You can see into them, right? And he has both eyes. So that's just a goof. Okay, that's just a film goof. Film goofs are fun to see. Terminator 2 is filled with them, assuming you're not watching the re-release on 4K. But yeah, that's one that I always like to look for. You know, it doesn't ruin the movie for me, but yeah, you can see both eyes behind the glasses. Let's see here. Rickson says it's difficult to shoot real guns without blinking, but Robert did it perfectly. Yeah, you know, props to Robert Patrick. I can't recall a blink. You know what I mean? You might see a twitch in his eye, but yeah, when he was in the hallway firing his gun, yeah, he was on point. You know, he kind of gave Arnold a run for his money in that particular field. Cyborgana says Termies blink all the time. Also, they have to protect their soft human eyes from shrapnel. Okay. Yeah. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? You can find ways to justify it. But in reality, I mean, in the first film, he didn't do that, right? He didn't wear glasses until he actually needed them. Right? So I see what you're saying there, Cyborgana, about, you know, they want to protect their eyes. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. They don't really think about that. Let's see here. Rickson says, but T-1000 didn't blink, did he? Rickson, T-1000s don't have flesh to protect. I want to say at some point Robert Patrick blinks, right? Now I feel like I'm not a true fan because I don't know if he blinks or not. He has to blink at some point. I can't imagine that whole movie he doesn't blink. But let's see. We'll see. Oliver says it's because Arnold says to John, "You will," as John Connor is talking about his dad by meeting him one day. So de-aging him would be cool. John says, "I'll be about 40 something for when I meet him." Yeah, you know, it would be cool. It would be really cool if they have him come back, and as long as it makes sense, right? Make it make sense. But I'm just gonna call it here. I don't think we're gonna get any other returning cast members from the films besides Arnold and Linda. Calling it here. I think that's it. That's essentially all we're going to get. And that's all we really need. Rickson says, hey, Eddie, have you read the screenplay of T2? I have a question regarding that. I read some of it, and then I did my one-on-one with William Wisher, and then I got the idea of sending him the screenplay to have him autograph for me. So I haven't finished it. So what is your question in regard to? Because I may or may not have an answer to it. I haven't read all of it. William Wisher still has it. He said that he's going to send it back at some point. But hopefully it makes it to me by Spooky Empire next Friday when I meet Edward Furlong. That would be really cool. Robert Patrick, T2, 4 shots, 16 rounds, 1 blink. What are you referring, like the whole movie? I'm confused about that, Lucas, if you want to elaborate a little more. Rickson, in the final act, when Arnold was sacrificing himself, Sarah asks him, "Are you afraid?" And T-800 says yes. Yes, the whole movie. Okay, Lucas, yeah. Oh, wow. Awesome. In the screenplay, Rickson says, oh, okay. Really? No, like I haven't gone that far. That's crazy. Really? Huh. Sarah says, "Are you afraid?" And the T-800 says yes. Like he's referring to going down into the molten steel. That's what she's talking, like that's what he's referring to. He's saying yes to going down. Huh. Well, let me tell you something. I'm glad they cut that out because yeah, that's going a little too far, right? Of the humanizing thing, because at the end of T2, that's one of the greatest things about the ending of that, among many other things, is that, you know, he now understands, right? The great line of him with John, you know, and John saying, "Don't go, I order you not to go." And he goes to John, you know, he says that, you know, "I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do." That's a great line. That's a great line. So that would almost contradict. Had they included that and him saying, "Yeah, I'm afraid." That would almost contradict it because he understands why John cries, but it's not something he can do. he can't cry, you know? So it would be weird for him to be afraid. You know, he can understand that people are afraid, but the T-800 being afraid, no, it makes no sense. So I'm actually really glad they cut that out. And I wish I would have known that, because I would have asked William Wisher about it. I still will, and I'll share his answer with you guys. Yeah, that's crazy. Thank you, Rickson, for sharing that. That's awesome. Well, I mean, it's awesome they cut it. I'll share the screenshot in your Instagram. Thank you. Appreciate that. See, look at, I'm learning stuff too, India. This isn't all about, you know, me giving you guys knowledge. This is a group effort here, right? You know, I'm just the nexus point. Uncle Bob had clearly learned the value of life at that point and was bonded to John like a father. Sure, it would be afraid of annihilation. I can't believe that, Morgana. Respectfully, I can't believe that. I just, yeah, I don't think that would have made sense. I wouldn't have bought it. I would have been like, what? That makes, yeah. No. He can understand. 100%. So had it been Sarah says, "Are you afraid?" and the T-800 goes, you know, something along the lines of no, but, or no, Sarah says, "Are you afraid?" He goes, he just shakes his head, and she goes, "Oh," or look, I'm not really a writer, but you guys know what I'm going for here. She would respond with something, and he would respond back with, you know, essentially the same thing he told John. I know that you would be afraid, but I can't be afraid. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense that he would be afraid. He's a Terminator. You know, I don't care how much he learned. It grabbed at the controls when it gave them to Sarah. It grabbed at the controls when it gave them to Sarah. It didn't want to go. What do you mean it grabbed at the controls? I sent the screenshot. You can check. Thank you. What do you mean it grabbed at? Like, because he hands her the controls. Like, you mean he held he held on to them and she had to kind of pull them out of his hand? Is that what you're talking about? Sorry, I'm looking at the chat. I'm like anxiously anticipating your answer. Yeah, because I can't. No. I would just liken that to the fact that he's missing an arm, right? And he just suffered a shit ton of battle damage, and he's not functioning the way that he should be doing. And so she, you know, tries to take the thing from him, and if there's any resistance there, that's just a little malfunction, right? He's just like, didn't give them up straight away. She had to pull them off it. Yeah, okay, yeah. Me personally, I mean, if you want to believe that he didn't want to go, that's fine. I look at it as he's just been through a shitstorm of, you know, going through all that with, you know, getting his head bashed and his fucking arm ripped, you know, all that stuff. You know, he's kind of not all there, right? I mean, he says, I need a vacation, you know, so, yeah, I think that's how I look at it. If I even noticed that. I don't even think I noticed that. Arnold couldn't destroy himself. Sarah had to do it. Yep. Nah, it wanted to live. Johnny 5 alive. Morgana, let's agree to disagree. That's the beauty. That is the beauty, right, of film, right? You interpret it one way, I interpret it another way. I just don't interpret it that way, of him like resisting wanting to go. It's just he went through a big ass battle with the T-1000, successfully killed it, but yeah, is malfunctioning. And you know, he gripped it. She tried to grab it, pulled, and then he realized, oh, okay, now I should let go. That kind of thing. I don't know. Again, I don't even think that's something I thought about. Just kind of kept going. I like this dialogue from the screenplay, but not in the film. Arnold says, it must end here, or I am the future. Interesting. Well, yeah, we know that's why he was doing it, right? That's why he sacrifices himself. Get rid of all evidence, but he did screw up. He left his arm back there, right? So even Terminators, as technologically advanced as they are not perfect. But yeah, that is why he sacrifices himself. He knows that he has to get rid of any possible trace, except for his arm. But that's a cool line. I like that line. It must end here, or I am the future. Now, I wouldn't be against them cutting that out. If they kept that in, I would have been okay with it. But they didn't. So that is that. Arnold has to destroy himself to get his mission accomplished, for which he has been programmed. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't that's how it works, right? You can't go back. It's a one-way ticket. Okay, so you come back, you do your mission, and then you get rid of yourself. I love talking with you guys. I'm so happy you guys are here. Hey, Eddie, have you read T2's Infiltrator book? It's brilliant. It's a brilliant read. I'm reading it at the moment. It's thought that Terminator Dark Fate will go with it. Yeah, I'm not a big reader. It takes a lot for me to read. And you can probably be like, well, or I know it's just my attention span. It's really tricky for a book to hook me. And I do remember reading that by S.M. Sterling. And that's the book you're talking about. The trilogy. It's Infiltrator, Rising Storm, and The Future War, I think is the trilogy of books. I was really excited for it. And I got kind of far into it. But guys, I am such a purist. To the point where, especially with a book, a TV series is different. It doesn't take as much to watch something as it does to read something. That, and I forget what it was because I've already disregarded it, but this was before I even had the podcast. But I did read that, and there's something in there that happens that I was just like, nope, sorry, you killed it for me. And I shut the book and I never went back. And I don't remember what that part was. But I really enjoyed the opening because the opening picks up, back with Miles Dyson's wife, and kind of the feelings and whatnot that she's going through, having known that Miles is going to do the mission at Cyberdyne. And that was a really cool beginning, and that hooked me. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a great read. It's a shame, I think that it just went in a direction that I wasn't game for, and that I just didn't think was something that would happen in this world. You know what I mean? So, but I do know a lot of people like those books. And I forget who recommended that book to me, but it was someone who knew I loved Terminator, and they were like, oh man, you got to check out these books by S.M. Sterling. And I was like, awesome, sweet. But yeah, I'm not reading that. I'm actually waiting to get back as well. I sent William Wisher my Terminator 1 novelization. When he sends that back as well, I'm going to crack that baby open and finally read that, because I'm really looking forward to that read. That's something I will read. I do know I will read that book. Co-authored by Randall Frakes, who I'm trying to get on the podcast. So I'll keep you guys up to date on that. We've been going for an hour and 18 minutes. Guys, I'm so happy. Isn't this great when you have Wi-Fi? It's amazing what it does. Let's see here. Rickson sent me something. Pull it up here. Did you know T2 was an adaptation of a Marvel's comic? Oh, there we go. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't an adaptation of a Marvel's comic. It was adapted into a Marvel comic. Yes, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I did know that. I would like to, get my hands on one of those. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to get my hands on. And once I read this and look at this message real quick, we'll talk about that here, guys. I love it. Screenplay.com. I'm going to have to look at this. Can anybody confirm that this is in the book version, the physical book of the screenplay for T2? That line that Rickson said about the Terminator saying that he is afraid, of going into the molten steel. Is that actually in the? Because this might be this particular image you sent me. That might be an earlier draft. I think the one in the book is essentially the finished script. I stand to be corrected on that. I think it is. I wish I had it to reference. Damn you, William. No, I'm just kidding. But I do think that is basically the shooting script for the most part. There are there are things in there that, you'll find in the special edition. And I think there's even a couple things in there that you won't find anywhere. Little things, not big things. I think for the most part, that is the shooting script. But yeah, so anyways, I mentioned that I would like to get my hands on that kind of thing. And this is something I'd like to talk to you guys about. I am not, sorry, I'm just adjusting the screen. I am not, I'm not a big, be right back, guys. Got to switch devices. The chat has wicked lag on my phone heading onto the PC on the hallway office. Okay, we'll be here. Cyborgana, we'll be here. I'm not a big collector of a lot of memorabilia. You know what I mean? I would, yeah, it says revised final shooting script. All right. Once he sends the screenplay back to me, I'm going to be looking for that because that's crazy. But I'm not a big collector of, you know what I mean? I see some pictures of people that collect Terminator merchandise and memorabilia, and I'm like, wow, congratulations. That's awesome. I would love that. Hell yeah, I'd love that. First of all, I don't have the money to be shelling out for that stuff. But second, I am so picky. I'm so picky, guys. I am so picky. It's crazy how picky I am. I'll go with shirts. I'll go with hats, stuff that I wear. I'll go with. But other than that, for the most part, memorabilia is not my thing. And I don't have a lot of Terminator memorabilia. Off the top of my head, besides my Terminator 2 3D hat, my shirt that I'm wearing now, I have my Sideshow Collectibles life-size bust of the first endoskeleton. And even that I'm picky about because to me, it's cool, and I do love it, but it's not exact and it pisses me off. Yeah, I'm very picky about it, but I have that. I have a couple other T2 3D things when I knew, it was getting gutted from Universal. So I have those. It's a mug, really cool mug. I'll show you guys at one point. That's in storage. What else do I have? I had a keychain from T2 3D, and I have a couple action figures from NECA. And I have when they did the Endo Arm box set for the T2 4K, that Endo Arm replica. I bought that. That I have as well. And other than that, I don't have. I think that's it. Because do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny, guys? My most treasured, valued, prized possession in my Terminator collection at this point, right? At this point. Once I get it back, it'll probably be that screenplay signed by William Wisher. But right now, it's my physical copies on Blu-ray of the Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Those are my valued possessions. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? That is what matters. The films. The films are what I'm a fan of. All the memorabilia, all the merchandise, all the replicas, that stuff's great. But if my house was to go up in flames, right, and I had to rush in there and I had to grab just whatever, I would grab Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 on Blu-ray and make sure that I had those copies. You know what I mean? Call me crazy. I mean, I am crazy. You can just buy them again. But you know what I mean? They mean something to me. They're the films. That's my mindset. I'm probably coming off a little bit crazy, but I think you guys knew this. So what is your frame of mind on that stuff when it comes to memorabilia? Are you like me, like you're very picky and you don't have a lot by choice, really, at the end of the day? Because I'll tell you guys, that full scale endo bust cost me $1,000. And if my house was on fire, I would grab my Blu-rays. So, it's really by choice. Do you guys follow in that boat, or are you like, you collect anything Terminator, everything Terminator, and that's your life? What is it? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know, because I'm just that person that, like the films are what matter to me. The films, to know that I can right now, when I leave here, when I go home, I can watch my number one favorite film and my number two favorite film. I can watch them right now. I have them in my collection. That's why I'm a big physical media fan as well. I'm not really into streaming, even though I know that's the way of the future. I'm not into merchandise or collectibles, just the two films. Yeah, see, Rickson, yeah, I mean, you're in the same boat as me, man. It's like, that stuff's all, cool and stuff. I think of that as like the sides. If like this was a dinner, right? Those would be the sides. Those would be the mashed potatoes. Those would be the corn. Those would be the bread, all that stuff. The films, those are the steak, right? The meat, right? That's the stuff that matters. All that side stuff, that's cool. It's cool. And if I get to it, I'll get to it. But you got to have your main course. Lucas says, I don't collect things. I had a long time ago many posters, but I have T2 on every mobile device to watch it everywhere. Yeah, man. See, that's what it's all about. Just the fact that we can watch the films. That's all that matters. Hopefully Cyborgana gets onto a device here. Who else is still watching? I know Oliver's watching. I know Lucas is watching. Rickson. Hopefully Cyborgana. India, are you watching? There we go. Can I admit something to the group? Go right ahead. This is a safe zone. This is a safe zone. No judgment. Yeah, see, Lucas says shoot. What do you got? While that is going, I'm just going to look at something here real quick. Sorry, guys. See, this is the stuff you don't really see. This is stuff you don't see. Like in the podcast, I would just edit this out. Are you a machine? Lucas says. Her name is Cyborgana. Let's see here. Pardon me for typing here, guys. There we go. Oh, there we go. India is still here. Good. I personally have T1, T2 mugs and have a Terminator 2 Arnold T800 talking toy, which I got for when I was 6. It still works as well. I have my Blu-rays. I have T1 and T2 posters. That's it. Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you for reminding me. I also, I want to tell you guys something. I crush on the T800 endoskeleton harder than a hydraulic press. Divine design. Yeah, I mean, I can't relate to that extent, but it is an amazing design. It's one of the greatest designs, of a movie character that isn't a human. You know what I mean? It's like a design that Stan Winston, James Cameron, they all came up with, and it is so beautiful just to look at. That's why I'm so picky about the bust that I have at home, because it's a pretty good replica, but it's not exact, and you can tell. I'm picky about like the eye size, the teeth, all that stuff, the look, the finish, all that stuff. The endoskeleton is amazing. It's amazing. It's my favorite, like, I guess you'd call it a creature design, right? It's like my favorite creature character design in cinema. Beautiful. Yeah, it is beautiful. But Oliver, thank you for reminding me, because I just got, I recently moved. And if you guys go back into my old videos of Terminator content, you'll see behind me I had posters, like paper posters, right, on the wall. And I didn't frame them stupidly. I just put them up there with like the sticky stuff on the back. I forget what they're called, command strips. And when I moved, I tried to take them off and they ripped. They ripped my posters. So that was rough, right? So I had to get rid of my posters because they were ripped. And so I haven't had a Terminator 1 or 2 poster since. And I moved, back in the beginning of January. So it's been rough. But I just recently ordered and got in, and it's huge. I'm going to post it on my social media so you guys can see it. It's the first poster with, this is a tiny detail, but it's the one I love. My first Terminator 1 poster was just the poster, right? It was just Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, him holding the gun, and then the credits on the bottom. But I have always been a fan more of the poster that has the dialogue written on the side next to Arnold's face. It's that, basically saying what, Kyle says, in the year of darkness, 2029, that thing. That is my preferred Terminator poster, not the one that I originally had. So when I was looking around and shopping for a new poster, I knew I had to get the one with the dialogue on it. And see, in the year of darkness, 2029, the rulers of this planet devised the ultimate plan. They would reshape the future by changing the past. The plan required something that felt no pity, no pain, no fear, something unstoppable. They created the Terminator. That is my favorite version of the T1 poster, not just the plain poster without that text. So when I shopped around for that, I found a way to get that poster in a big design, like in a big format, but on canvas, because I knew I wanted a way to kind of preserve the design, the poster. I didn't want to go back to just a paper poster and frame it. You know what I mean? So I wanted that extra special thing. And so I went with getting the poster printed canvas style. So it's on a canvas. Because when I think of like canvases, I think of them like, when I think of art, I think of art as like on a canvas. You know what I mean? My narrow-minded ways. I think of art as on a canvas. So that's what I did. I had it put on a canvas. And so I'll show that to you guys once I open it. I'm weird. I like to keep things in package and just kind of check in on the package from time to time. But let's see here. Rickson says, you know what I think? I haven't said this before. I watched Terminator 2 before the first one. That time I had no idea about prequels and sequels. T2 was my first English film I watched. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people have that same story. I think I have that same story. I think I saw the second film first and then the first film second. I run a tiny page called Oh Termy on Instagram too. Ripped oh shit. That's awful. What? You're just plugging stuff. You're fine. No worries. I am familiar with that Oh Termy page. I didn't know that was you though, so I'll like that page. Rickson says, one day I came back from school, switched on my TV, and it read The Terminator on Sony Pic's channel, I think. I was like, shit. Then imagine my reaction when I saw Arnold as a villain. Yeah. Probably traumatizing, right? It was very hard for me to accept Arnold as the villain. Yeah, that would be if you saw T2 first. I have a real 80s T1 poster print in the larger A1 size before they made the standard A1 size smaller. Nice. Like it's like an original 80s poster. It's not a reprint or anything. That's awesome. Awful was about your posters. Yeah, right? That was awful, Lucas. That was like, are you kidding me? I'm never going to use command strips again. I probably didn't do it the right way that you're supposed to take them off. That's probably my mistake. But yeah, I left a bad taste in my mouth of command strips. What a bummer. I'm the same. Saw T2 first, then the Terminator. Funny how we seen the same. Yeah, that's just the way it goes. I think it's because the second film is, I say family friendly, but it's not. but you know what I mean? It's more of an action movie, right? It's more of it's an easier film to get invested in, I think, versus the first film, which is more of that, noirish, dark. Most of it's at night. You kind of have to really focus a little more on the first film. So I think that's why. Real deal. Actually, let me. I'm gonna like the page right now. Oh, Termy. Here we go. I'm gonna like the page right now. Pardon my going out of frame there. All right. All right. Yes, I'm liking this live. Arnold should always be the baddie and adore his wide-eyed intensity. He really should be. I think you and I should write this next film, Morgana. We seem to be on the same page. And everybody in the chat room. We should all assemble a writer's room. Oh, Termy. There it is. Bam. I liked it. All right. Well, let's see here. We've been going for an hour and 36 minutes. So I think we're going to wrap this up here, guys. Let you get back to your lives here. If you like that page, it means you fancy robots. Okay. I fancy robots. Not in that way, though. Yeah, see, yeah. You're winking at me. I know what you mean. I'm just going to like it because you run it. But thank you guys so much for joining the second live stream. And this one went beautifully, right? It didn't lag. Can anybody tell me if it lagged or anything? I didn't see any issues on... She blinked. I didn't see any issues on my end. The Wi-Fi stayed strong. So thank you guys so much for coming over here. And, everybody that checks us out afterwards, hopefully you'll join us on the next live stream. My fave Arnold films besides Terminator are True Lies, Last Action Hero. Definitely, I think we all should write a Terminator story. It would be badass. Rickson, yeah. True Lies, amazing film. Last Action Hero, underrated. Not in my top 5, though. Maybe in my top 10. True Lies is in my top 5, though. Nice chat. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Everybody let me know who's in the chat room right now so I can say goodbye to everybody. I just want to make sure I get everybody in here since I can do that right now. I love 95% of Arnold movies. Lucas, it's good stuff. Lucas, thank you for joining the live chat. I really appreciate it. Rickson, thank you for joining the live chat. Oliver, thank you for joining. Cyborgana, thank you. India, if you're still watching, thank you so much. Who else do we got? Nice to be here, Eddie. Yeah, Lucas, you're awesome, man. You're over on the Patreon, so I mean, you're great, man. Perfect stuff. After Dark is open. Yeah, if you guys want to head over there, post some stuff, I'll comment on it. Staying in line with me not posting over there because it's not my space. That's your guys' space, and I'm just a moderator. Thank you for being here, guys. It's been a pleasure, and gonna end it here. Okay, guys. Until I talk to you next time. See you, Eddie. It's been a brilliant live stream. After Dark Sight's brilliant. Thank you, Oliver. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Oh, thanks, India. Appreciate the clap. All right, guys. Until next time, keep on terminating.